out of 16 puzzles, and I got 14 out of 16 on the 5 minutes. So clearly I did well enough to advance to round two. Um, so at that audition, I want to say there was roughly about somewhere between like 100 150 people that were there.
Mhm.
So they pared us down to 24. So that was pretty cool. So what they do is they kind of line us up into like a whole line of 24 people, and you do a mock version of the game where it's like they kind of split you into groups of three. And I did pretty good in that part. So like I got the puzzle right and all that kind of stuff fairly quick. Um then after that they do a short interview with you, sort of like get a feel of how you are, what you do, like make sure you're
Yeah.
not just like a flat piece of paper.
Mhm.
So I told them about like my college experience, that I started college when I was 16. So that's always a good thing to start with.
Right.
Also at the time, I I was working at the radio stations, with their PR team there. So I was doing like that kind of stuff because yeah, I was studying radio, television, film with a minor in journalism. I kind of wanted to get into either being like a radio DJ or like a sportscaster.
Mhm.
Um, didn't exactly happen like that, but hey, how many times do you ever think about, being something and yeah, either it doesn't happen or it happens, but it's not the road that you exactly imagined.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm great for all that for that experience. On top of the interview, I remember specifically that they took a Polaroid of us at the time, which I mean, how 90s is that?
Yeah.
Like, kind of interesting. Like, what kind of headshot, you're gonna do? I'm like, okay. It's like, I mean, am I like photogenic?
Right.
So yeah. Um, After all that, they after just yeah, did interviews, all the pageantry, etc. They said, well, if we like you, we're gonna mail you a letter in about like maybe 2 weeks or so. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like that's a lot of anticipation and wait. Like,
Right.
man, I crushed it. Like, just let me know. Like, I just didn't want that doubt that like somehow I screwed a pooch by saying something, go sure, what have you. So yeah, that was the Saturday. About 3 days later on a Tuesday, I got a call at work. And yeah, someone said, hey, someone wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay, hey. And it was the contestant coordinator, Gary. And he said, hey,
Oh yeah,
you
because
you
oh
know,
yeah, I forgot it was because I mean, was he when you he because was he the practice host when you did it?
yes,
Okay, yeah, okay,
Gary, that's the guy who like knows all the magic and all that stuff too.
yeah, okay.
Yep. He's good guy. He's yeah. So yeah, he says, we'd like to offer you an invitation to be on the show, and like, do you accept? I'm like thinking to myself, is that the dumbest question? Or like, I didn't go through all this just to be like,
Hmm.
nah, So that was pretty awesome. And of course, I accepted. They said they were going to tape at the beginning of November, which was literally going to be a few days after my 20th birthday. So pretty cool. Wait till they ring in my 20th year there on Earth. And then they said, "Are you available?" And that was going to be on a Sunday. And then they said, "Are you available Saturday beforehand?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? What's up?" They said, "Well, we wanted you to model off some things." Like model. It's like, yeah. Oh, because when they give away prizes and stuff like that, it's like,
Oh
this is
yeah.
what you could win. And so there was like a couple of the college kids, they did something like it was an IBM PC, which if you look at the
Oh my
technology
gosh.
back then, it's hilarious how like big a tank it is, and it's not even as strong as like the phone in your hand now.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I got to do two spots, one for Zodiac watches, and the other one was for Tommy Hilfiger, which I mean, in the late 90s to say you're going to be, wearing some of that gear, that was like huge.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because yeah, around that time, this was like probably maybe a year after it kind of really got hot because I remember Snoop Dogg, he wore Hilfiger on the Saturday Night Live, and then that's
Mhm.
when like and especially in the hip hop community, everyone started wearing it. So like for the younger audience, imagine if like it was the 2010s and like you were going to model off Supreme or like Diamond Supply or something that cool. Like because like even was it Aaliyah back in the 90s, she was
Oh
like
yeah. All the
getting more
time he was
for
like,
it.
yeah.
whoo, it's like, okay, 1 degree closer to being to her, not. But a guy could dream at that time. Um, so yeah, that was sort of yeah, that was the application process of getting in onto the show and how I got accepted.
Yeah, but you taped it in. You didn't tape it in Sony. You taped it on location, right?
That is true, yes.
Yeah.
So this was taped on in San Francisco at the Palace of Fine Arts. So yeah, the way they did that was, I believe they're going around on the road. So they taped on that Saturday when I was doing the whole commercial, sort of like the promo stuff. They taped San Francisco week on Saturday, and then they taped College week on Sunday.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah. And then of course the fun little footnote to all that was Pat got hit with some sort of illness that gave him laryngitis. So if you watch San Francisco week from '96 at College week, yeah, his voice was pretty shot.
Yeah. So that's why I guess in the bonus round, like he did Vanna for
Yeah, they switched places, I want to say
yeah.
either on Thursday or Friday of yeah, College week. So
Okay.
yeah, there was an interesting confluence of things that were going on. Like one, it was taped in San Francisco. Two, Pat had laryngitis. Three, Vanna was pregnant with her first child.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because somebody told me she didn't like did she announce it to you guys like there? Because I heard she didn't announce it until like the week after those shows aired.
Oh, she didn't have to announce anything. That bump was a bumping.
Oh, yeah, no, it's weird. No, it's weird because someone I know that like knows a lot of stuff. They said like, oh, she didn't announce it until like the week after. I guess when she publicly announced it. But okay, now I know.
Yeah,
Now
I
I know.
mean,
But I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. Like I noticed like later that season, like not that it was like bumping, but I was like, oh, I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, she kind of big.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why, like, I know a lot of contestants, alums that I speak to, they talk about their experience of talking with Pat or talking, with Vanna. But yeah, I didn't really get to speak with Vanna at all. And I think it was probably maybe because she was, pregnant and wanted her distance or, whatever. I mean,
Hmm.
it's reasonable, like I get it. But yeah, it's um yeah, the experiences that I had compared to other people's is yeah, unique and different for sure.
Yeah. So like how did the like tape day go?
Oh
If
boy.
you're I don't know if do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. I'm old, but I'm not like, senile. But we're uh, but okay, seriously though. So yeah, it was Sunday morning. You wake up, it's like, okay, I'm like so ready to go. Um, Originally, like the people who were supposed to go were my mom, my stepdad, and my sis. And this was on a weekend when we had actually moved residencies, like we'd moved from a house to a different house. And I was telling my mom, okay, let's get ready to go. And she was actually like, actually, can you just go by yourself? Because I'm tired and I don't feel like, getting up or anything. And part of me was like, oh God, like, what am I gonna do here? Like drag her, all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, okay, fine. If you're like that dead, I'm just gonna solo dolo it. So I get in my truck and I was like, man, what am I gonna do? So I'm calling up my friends too and saying, hey, I've got some tickets that freed up. You want to go see me in up in the city? And they went to college across the bridge at Cal. So I was figuring like, okay, that's easy hop and a skip for them. And they were both like, well, we got midterms coming up and it's going to be hard and studying's probably a little more important. I was just like, dog, really? Like this is my once in a lifetime and y'all just gonna leave me hanging to dry. And so I remember on the drive up, so driving up from San Jose to San Francisco, it's about 45 minutes, give or take.
Hmm.
Um, and I was just like, part of me was, whew, like I was almost like kind of mad going up there. And I was just like, okay, man, like people didn't believe in me and all this kind of stuff. So I honestly, I had like a little bit of resentment going into me. And so like what I did was I remember popping into WWF like soundtrack CD and just like listening to games, and I would just like totally hype myself into the zone, like, okay, I'm hyping myself like, I'm a wrestler going out there. So I was listening to like Razor Ramon's theme and like, Shawn Michaels Sexy Boy, like, yeah, that's gonna be me up there, I'm feeling myself, at this point. And so after listening to that, it's like, okay, I turned my ear into like, okay, I'm so determined to win this. Like, and that was sort of one of the things going into the entire experience. Like, I know I listen to a lot of alums, and it kind of makes me feel like kind of like an ass, in retrospect, because they're like, I'm going out there. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is going to be so fun. It doesn't matter if I don't win. I get to be on TV and I get to do the thing that I've dreamed about the most. I was like, nah, man, this is a mercenary mission. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to beat the brakes off, whoever goes in front of me. Like it, and it's not even cockiness, but I think that's when it comes to competition. I can't go into like a competition and think I'm going to lose. Like,
Yeah.
it never crosses my mind. Like, I only see, the finish line. I only see like maybe with the gold medal or, with the big cash. And anything short of that is like, wow, what orphanage did I burn in a previous life to, deserve this? Why did I lose? But no, so yeah. Anyway, I got myself into the zone for everything, like that. Um, Once I got to, the city up into the Fairmont where we all the contestants got together. I remember we got ourselves into a shuttle to take to the Palace of Fine Arts, and I'm kind of looking around, sizing up my competition. It's like, okay, we're all college students. We all got our, sweatshirts on. I'm like, who am I supposed to be nice to? I'm like, should I be nice? Because to me, that's sort of like making friends with a pig before you slaughter him for bacon, Like, you can't do that. So I didn't know what to do. And then I just remember on the radio, like while the bus driver was driving, is like Michael Jackson's Rock With You came on. And then I don't know what convinced me, but like once you got to that chorus, when you feel that beat, it's like I just started singing aloud just as one, it's a freaking awesome song. And two, like next, and I guess I just tried to loosen myself up, but then I heard someone else join in on the chorus, and then like three other people. So I was like, okay, maybe we all kind of needed to loosen up there because
Yeah.
maybe all of us were wound tight. So that was kind of one of the more fun memories I had about that. So I was like, okay, okay, this is the fun experience of Wheel. This is like the whole social aspect I should have been doing all this time, and better late than never. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, once we got to the Palace of Fine Arts, it was like, okay, yeah, you're totally sequestered. Like, you don't have your phones, you have no contact with the outside world, which I mean, that's
Did you guys have phones back then?
um let's see, it was
Did y'all have phones back then?
actually, well, I didn't get my first mobile phone till 97. So it was
Okay,
just,
no, because I mean, I know they had like pages, but I'm like,
oh yeah, I
Those
had a
were pretty
pager.
I
big
know,
cell phones back
whack.
then.
I know technology was like whack back then. So
Those were like a
Yeah.
cereal box, so you can't like
yeah,
hide. You gotta
because I
store it.
mean, because I think my mom, she didn't get like her first mobile phone until like that time either. So because that's the one thing I was like, y'all have phones?
Yeah, no, not at that time. Well, and also remember, like, the reason why phones weren't so ubiquitous at the time was, you were getting charged out the wazoo for like when you were using it. Like, you were charged by the minute, especially during daytime. There was like peak hours and non-peak hours. So it's like you would be like literally waiting till after 7 o'clock to call all your people because that's when you got the reduced rate and such. So yeah, it was more cost prohibitive than anything. And I mean, it didn't really blow up until like Nokia started really flooding the market with those, the phones that you're used to, like the 3310s or that sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of when it started. That's when it started blowing up around 97, 98. I mean, the only time I'd ever seen like cell phones were either like, lawyers, or you see it on TV, like in the music videos, like you see all the rappers on their yacht. It's like, okay, that's ballin', that's goals. So yeah, that's there was no contact with the world, but back then it was like so much easier, and it's like, okay, we're not used to always being tethered to something or somewhere that everywhere at all times. So yeah, once we get to the palace and all stuff, We go over the typical, you know, this is the rule packet, all that kind of stuff, and then